The final tape in our series has to do with officiating Kumite matches. I have 3 goals for you. Number 1, for you to be a competent official, to be able to understand the rules and how to run your ring properly. Number 2, as a competitor, to know what's expected of you and understanding those rules to your advantage in the ring. And number 3, for a parent or a friend who is watching the tournament to understand how the points are given in a karate tournament. Thank you very much. For our 5th in this series, I want to concentrate on the officiating aspect of a Kumite match. I see 2 important factors here. Number 1, for the person who is going to be an official, to be able to conduct the match properly, and I will go through the proper gestures and what to look for as a referee or a judge in a particular type of situation when you are officiating. Secondly, for the competitor, or even the parent or a guest who is visiting a karate tournament, to know what to look for and how to read an official when he is giving his gestures for the various points scored. Okay, so let's start from right here. The referee, when he enters the ring, his feet are together, heels together, toes outward, and he's standing at attention. As he draws the competitors into the ring, he's ready to start the match. And if it is a 3-point match, he will say shobu, sanban, hachime. If it is a 1-point match, he would say ippon, shobu, hachime. As he says the word hachime, he steps back out of the way of the competitors and allows them to fight. As the match is moving along, the referee should be using hand gestures. For example, if there is no point, the hands would be waving in front. No point. No point. There's no verbal communication. Everything's done by hand signals. Okay? If a punch is off target, the referee may signal with his hands that the punch is off target. If it is a weak attack, he may signal with his hands. It is a weak attack, allowing the competitors to continue fighting so he doesn't have to stop all the time. Now, when the referee does want to stop the match, he will yell loudly, "Yame," to stop the match. As a competitor, this is one of the key things you want to listen for in a match. Hachime to begin the match, and yame to stop the match. Okay, now this match has been stopped, and the referee will communicate to the competitors what has happened. For example, let's say that the person on this side is aka on the red side, and the person on this side, on the left side, is shiro, or white. Always in karate tournament, right hand is aka, left hand is shiro. So I'm going to give a half point to the aka side. And I tell what the person did. Aka, chudanzuki, wazari. Translating that to English, red, stomach level punch, half point. Now I'm going to continue the match. Okay? Stepping back with my hands towards the opponents, I give the command, Zuzukite, hachime. I bring them together and step back, and they continue the match. I don't interfere with the match unless I see a point or a foul or someone step out of bounds. Yame, I stop the match. They return back to the line. This time, I see shiro score a point. So I give the command, shiro, jodan zuki, ippon. Okay. White, face attack, full point. We're ready to continue the match. Put my hands towards the opponent's faces, step back, Susukite, Chime, and they continue the match. While the match is going, the clock is running. Every time the referee says Yame, the clock stops. Okay? Yame. And the referee comes up to the line. The contestant on the red side has stepped out of bounds, so the referee signals with his hands. He points out of bounds, and then he gives the command, Aka Jogai. Ready to continue the match. Suzukite, Chime. The match is continued. The referee's moving around, letting the fighters interact. The control is good. Movements are in and out. And the referee stops. Yame! Okay, this time, white has struck the red competitor in the face. It's not a severe strike, but it is a foul. So the referee signals keikoku, which is a minor foul. And the red side receives a half point because he was fouled. Aka wazari. Referee continues the match. Suskite, chime. As the matches continue, somebody back there is keeping time for us. And at 30 seconds, he will call out 30 seconds, and the referee should repeat that. Okay? 30 seconds remain in the match. And they're fighting. Okay? Yame! Again, white has gotten a little bit too aggressive and has fouled the red side and struck him in the face. The foul, even though it's not any more severe than the last one, the point must escalate. So now the referee signals Hansoku Chui as he points to the chest of the person who fouled. This is a 1-point foul. And red receives a point. Aka ippon. Susukite chime. And the match continues. And no more points are scored. Time is called. Referee, yame! Okay, time is out. He knows that Aka has received more points and receives the win. Aka no kachi, the winner. And bow him back. Okay, now, what I'd like to do is, first of all, I want to go through all the different hand signals. Okay, so for those people who are learning to become an official, you can practice these hand signals with me. Following this, then we'll have a couple of contestants come up and go through, and I'll put some hypothetical situations together, and you can practice your hand signals with them. Okay, first of all, starting the match. Referee standing together, heels together, and he should say, remember, if it's a 1-point match, it's ippon. If it's a 3-point match, sanban. So let's just assume it's a 3-point match. Okay? Sanban shobu, 3-point match. Hachime. Okay, also can be shobu sanban. It's also acceptable. Shobu sanban, hachime. Shobu sanban, hachime. Shobu sanban, hachime. And then you step back and allow the fighters the space to fight. Yame. Anytime you wish the fighters to discontinue or stop, the command is yame, to stop. Yame, like a chop separating the two of them. But you never touch the competitors. They should respond to your command. Yame. If you wish the match to continue, once you've given the command yame, the command is zuzu, kete, hachime. Zuzu, kete, hachime. Zuzu, kete, hachime. Zuzu, kete, hachime. You wish the match to stop? Yame. Aka, or red, is your opponent on your right. Always, Aka is on your right. Shiro is your opponent on your left. Always, Shiro is on your left. If you wish to award a half point or a full point score to your opponent, you call the color of the person you're awarding the point to first. Aka, Chudansuki, ippon. Aka, Chudanzuki, wazari. Notice my hand position changed. If I'm going to give a full point, my hand starts from about the waist level and comes out above the shoulder. If I want to give a half point, it starts from the shoulder and goes out to below the waist. It's very important that you're very clear on your hand signals. You don't want to go in between because somebody behind you is keeping score. So the full points are above the shoulder, and the half points are below the waist. Okay, you wish to continue the match. Remember, it's Zuzu, Kite, Hachime. Okay, Yame. Stop the match. Okay, once again, delivering points. If I wish to give a full point, my hand comes from the left, across the body. This is going to be towards the shiro side. Shiro, ippon. Or shiro, wazari. Once you become more competent in your officiating calls, you should even call what occurred during the match. For example, shiro, jodanzuki, ippon. Or aka, chudanzuki, wazari. So you notice I'm calling not only the color and what the score was, but also whether it was jodan, upper level, or chudan, middle level. Whether it was a strike, a zuki, or various other types of techniques could be included in that also. Okay, continuing the match. Susukite, chime. Stopping the match again, yame. Okay, now we're going to cover the different types of fouls. Fouls can be classified as far as 4 different things. To warn the person without actually giving a foul, you say ate nai one, ate nai one, and you cover your knuckles towards the person who created the foul. The next step, if the foul is increased or if it is a more severe foul, is a keikoku. You point to your opponent's feet and you call keikoku. Keikoku. And then you award to the opponent the appropriate score. A keikoku is a half point. Aka, wazari. Shiro, keikoku, aka, wazari. The third level for a foul is a han soko chui. You point to your opponent's chest. Han soko chui. Han soko chui. This is a full point foul, and you award to the opponent a full point. Aka, ippon. If the foul is extremely severe and the person should not be allowed to continue the match, you point to his face and you signal Hansoku. Hansoku. And award 3 points automatically to the person who was struck. No catch, the winner. No catch. The hand position is the same as an ippon, but you're saying no catch to the winner. Shiro, Hansoku, aka, no catch. And the match is over. Okay, other hand signals that you should become familiar with is at the end of a yame, for example, and neither person has scored. Cross your arms, palms down. Tori masen. Tori masen. That means no acknowledgement of point, no confirmation of point. Tori masen. Okay? Another common thing is the hand signals. Sometimes you don't need to even say anything, but you should be familiar with hand signals. For example, distance is off. Okay, for example, a person steps in face punch, is too far away, you would signal with the hands, distance is off. Okay? Or maybe it struck and bounced off target. This is off target. Okay? This could also be off target. Okay? Off the head, off the body. Okay, so these hand signals are helpful. What we want to try to do as a referee is have as little communication, verbal communication, because it takes time in the match. So everything should be done by hand signals. The contestants should recognize what the hand signals are. The contestants who are watching should understand it. The coaches should understand. and as a referee, I'm communicating with my judge what the hand signals are. Also, most importantly, the scorekeeper back here needs to see very demonstrative hand signals. Half point, full point, torimasen, okay? Keikoku, hansoku chui, hansoku. Those hand techniques must be demonstrative so this person who is keeping score can be accurate. One that's easily confused with the pointing the finger is jogai. Jogai means out of bounds. So the referee should necessarily point at the ground. Okay? It should point out of bounds, to the side of the person stepped out. Keep in mind now, the first time that you step out of bounds, it's like a warning. But the second time you step out of bounds, this is what happens. Okay? First time, you would say, shiro jogai. Suzukite, hachime, yame. Second time, out of bounds. Shiro jogai. Keikoku. Aka wazari. Suzukite, hachime. Yame. Third time, out of bounds. Shiro jogai. That's a jogai chui. Aka ippon. Suzukite, hachime. Yame. Fourth time out of bounds. Shiro jogai. Hansoku. Aka no kachi. So obviously, as a competitor, you can see it's very important that you stay in bounds. First time out, it's a warning. Second time out, you're penalized a half a point. The third time out, you're penalized another full point on top of that. So you may not have even had one punch or kick, but if you're running out of bounds, you've lost 1.5 points. And if you step out a fourth time, you're out of the match altogether. All the gestures I've done now are for the referee, but a very key person in that ring is the judge. Now, in a Samban tournament, we have a referee who is in charge of running the match itself, but the judge acts as a mirror for that referee. See, we don't want to be talking back and forth. What'd you say? Huh, huh, huh? No, that's not what we want to do. What we want to do is communicate each other with hand gestures back and forth. So now I'm going to assume the job of the judge. The judge is walking around on the opposite side of the ring from the referee. Notice I'm moving. I'm pretending like I'm moving as I'm watching the fighters in between. And during the course of action, I'm signaling to my referee various types of things. Okay? Remember, this is torimasen, no point. I see a half point. I see a full point. Okay? My gestures are not as big as the referee's, but they're big enough where he can see me. See, what I'm trying to do is not show up anybody in the ring, but show the referee what I see. Okay? The referee may signal me that it's nothing. Continue. Okay? This means I see a foul. I see a contact. Okay? Turn the finger around. If I make it real big, it means big contact. Okay? Oh, the referee says yame, I cover my eyes. He may be asking my help, but I didn't see it. I didn't see what the score was, or if it was out of bounds, or if it was a foul. Okay, so I'm letting him know by covering my eyes, I didn't see. Okay? Likewise, when the match is going, I as a judge would signal other types of things. Contact. Off target. Too weak. Distance off. Okay? I'm saying these verbally for you, but during the course of the tournament, the judge does not speak. Never does he speak unless the referee specifically says time and asks to talk to that judge. Okay, so the judge is using some of the same gestures as a referee. No point. I see a half point. I see a full point. I can't see. Off target. Off target. Contact. Foul. Big foul. Okay? These types of hand signals are very important so that we're communicating with each other. The referee and the judge work together. We are not like two opponents trying to outdo each other. Okay? If I'm a referee, I need my judge to see all the scores. Likewise, the judge is letting the referee have the proper scoring. Okay, so let's go ahead and just get. I'm going to go ahead and start the match. I'm not going to really have them fight. I'm going to kind of guide them through some things so we can practice the hand signals. Okay, so the referee starts the match. Shobu, Sanban, Hachime. Go. Yame. Okay, and they return back to their line. Okay, let's do that again. We start the match. Shobu, Sanban, Hachime. Yame. I stop the match. Okay, now we have to give some type of a signal. Why did I stop the match? For example, let's say that they clashed. They came together and no points were scored. So the referee would give the appropriate signal. Torimasen. No point. He continues the match. Susukite. Chime. Yame. Okay. The referee saw red score a stomach punch to white. Now he must call that. Aka, Chudansuki, Wazari. And notice I'm very demonstrative with my hand so the scorekeepers can see that it's a half point. Susukite, Spade. Yame. The referee stops the match. This time in the course of fighting, white stepped out of bounds. So the referee signals. Shiro, Jogai. Okay? By pointing out of bounds, the scorer knows to score a warning for stepping out of bounds for the white side. The referee is ready to continue the match. Let's get there. Spade. Yame. Red has hit white in the face. It is a foul. It's a minor hit, but yet it is a foul. Aka, Keikoku, Shiro, Wazari. Once again, red fouled. Aka, Keikoku. So white receives a half point. Shiro, Wazari. Continue the match. Get Spade. Yame. Okay, this is a hand signal that I did not demonstrate earlier. A good referee who has a very observant eye will not use this hand signal very often. This hand signal is Ayuchi. Ayuchi means it was a simultaneous attack. They both punched or kicked or punched and kicked with equal power at the same time. Ayuchi is Torimasen. No acknowledgement of score. Susukite. Spade. Yame. Shiro has stepped out of bounds for a second time. Shiro, Jogai. Keikoku. Second time, he loses a half point. I award the half point to red side. Aka, Wazari. Shiro, Keikoku, because he stepped out the second time for Jogai. Aka, Wazari. Referee continues the match. Stay. Spade. Now, the referee should communicate. Go ahead and move around a little bit like you guys are fighting. He's communicates to the match as he hears 30 seconds. So he announces to the fighters 30 seconds remaining. Ata shibaraku is the Japanese term for it. Go ahead and continue. Ata shibaraku is 30 seconds. Yame! And he returns the match. Okay? Torimasen. Referee says there is no confirmation of point. Hey, stay, spade! Oh. And Yame! Time. And at that time, he would turn around, receive the official score, and give whoever had scored the most points to win. I think in this case I wasn't keeping score, but I believe that aka would be no kachi or winner. Okay? Aka, no kachi. Okay, out? Very good. Hand back is out. Okay, now the next part we want to take a look at is the referee and the judge working together as a mirror. And you have to keep in mind now that these referees and judges aren't getting paid for doing these jobs. So they don't usually have any preference on who wins. They shouldn't have any preference on who wins. And the judge and referee are working together as a team to try to make the match as fair as they possibly can. One should be able to see better than the other. For example, if I could have you two gentlemen come out here just again for me a second.
Hi.
And I'm going to let you over here be the mirror. Okay? And if Bob steps in with his right foot, Eric steps in with his left foot to freestyle stance. It's me.
Hi.
You as a mirror do not have a very good view because you, as you can see, have their backs to you. So unless maybe the guy comes up and does a roundhouse kick to the back or something, you're not going to have very much opportunity to see. So the main picture is right in front of me. Okay, Bob, if you'll switch your feet, please.
Hi.
Okay, now from here, you have a great view of Bob's inside of his body, and I have a great view of Eric's inside of his body. Okay, now Eric, if you turn that way.
Hi.
Okay, and now you as my mirror, you have the best view of the fight, and I really depend upon you now to be able to see the points. I can see the Jodan attacks. I can see the attacks in the face, but the torso attacks, it's very hard for me to be able to see. So you can see why it's so important as you as my mirror have to be able to help me out. Okay, Eyame back. Okay, you guys bow? Okay, now what we're going to do is I'm going to just change our body positions for a second. Bob, if you could step out, please.
Hi.
Okay, and Eric and I are going to act as the referee and the mirror. Okay, so Eric, we're going to move around. And notice when I move, if, for example, when we start to match, wherever I move, he's going to move. So we always keep that same distance away from each other, and we have the fighters in between us. That way, for sure, always one of us has a good view of the fighters. Okay? Shobu Sanban. Chmei! Okay? So you notice as I move to my left, Eric does too. If I move to my right, he moves. Okay? As we move again, okay, Eric, so if something happened, you make a gesture. Okay? Yame! Okay, I stop the match. Eric has placed his hand up at chest level to show that the person on this side, which is Aka, has scored a full point. Okay? I saw that and I agree. Aka, Jodanzuki, Ippon. Once again in English, red scored a face punch. He receives a full point. Now we continue the match. Right? Susukite, Tsumei! Okay, and Eric and I are keeping the fighters between us at all times. And if they shift, okay, notice his hands. He's doing no turning masen. He doesn't see anything. Okay, we keep moving. We don't want to go around in circles too much. Okay, one of the bad things, keep moving that way, please. We don't want to start moving like this. Okay, if you do this for about 5 minutes, you start like you're going to throw up. Okay, so what we try to do is cut the ring in half. So when Eric gets to that midpoint there, then we'll stop and automatically boing the other way. We're always cutting the ring in half. Okay, then we always have a good view. And he has to move with my move. Okay, we don't ever want this to happen. Okay, we don't want to have both of us on the same side of the ring here. We're losing perspective of where the fighter's supposed to be. So we should always have them in between us. Okay, let's come back up again. Okay, and this time, Rob, if you'll stand right here and Bob stand right here.
Right.
Okay. And I just want you guys to pretend like you're fighting, but don't do any punches or kicks. Just kind of move around a little bit. Okay, so now we're going to have Rob and Bob here do a mock karate match for us, and Eric and I are going to try to keep our body in the proper position. It's very important as you practice that the referee and the judge are not interfering with each other. We want to make sure that we have our bodies so that we can both see clearly the best possible way in between the fighters, not behind or beside them. Okay, starting a new match. Shobu Sanban, Chmei! Okay, so they're moving around. You notice Eric and I are moving. Stay close to the side. Okay, shift back the other way. As they shift back the other way, we try to stay in between them. Yame! And back. Okay, now this time, as we do it, I want you to watch Eric. Eric's going to do some gestures with his hands. However, I'm not going to stop the match. So he may be signaling toward him, he might be signaling off target, he may be signaling a half point or full point. And as you're watching the tape, see if you can see what he's doing with his hands. See if you can understand his hand signals, just like if you were at a tournament yourself. Right? Shubu, sanban, swing. Okay. Okay, move the other way. Good. Watch his hands. Okay. Yame, back. Now, because of my position, I'm right in between the fighters. I can see everything the fighters are doing. All their movements, their strikes, kicks, blocks, footwork, good form, all those things we need to know to score a point in karate tournament. At the same time, I can see everything Eric's doing. Every time he went like this, this, and this, I can see his hand techniques. Now, because I'm really the one in charge of the match, the referee, I can just go like this. I can just say, continue the match. Okay, when I continue the match, or I can say verbally, continue the match, Eric knows that I've acknowledged what he's doing without stopping the match itself. I don't need to stop every time and call him over and say, I didn't see this, you did see that, and so on and so forth. He has to trust that I have a better view. So sometimes his view may be better than mine. Then I really trust his judgment. Okay, let's do it again. This time let's do a hand signal, and I'll stop if I need to. Okay, Shobu Sanban, Shmei! Okay. Yame! Good. Okay, now, Eric had the best view. He says there's an ippon. Now, I didn't see it. I didn't see it because his body was in my way. But I have to trust Eric's judgment. He is my mirror. So I do. Shuro, Jodanzuki, ippon. Means white, face punch, full point. Hey, about. It's nice as the referee that you can continue to practice, that you really have confidence and not only be able to say the appropriate score, who received the point, and what the technique was. You should be able to say it in Japanese. However, today, particularly in AAU, you can say it in English, but I think that it shows a higher level official when you can say the Japanese terminology. The other thing is to make sure that as you're officiating, that you are very demonstrative on each signal you do. So I want you to make sure that you watch yourself in the mirror. Try to watch yourself and be critical of your own movements. Because it's just like when somebody does a good form in karate, a kata. You're looking at all of their little small movements, their stances, their idiosyncrasies, to make sure they do it properly. The people who are in the ring also judge a referee the same way. So if he's sloppy on his movements, you lose some of the respect. You should come in at attention and show each movement clearly that you're going to do. Okay? Not only for the sake of the scorekeeper, but also demanding the respect of your competitors and of the people of the audience know that you can take charge in that ring. After you've mastered your signals, after you've mastered the point of how to say, to give the various scores to your contestants in the ring, the hardest thing that you have to learn is to actually be able to see these things happen, to actually see the points occur. You have to be able to be familiar with the criteria, and that's why it's so important for me to have somebody who's a referee who has had experience in the ring as a competitor, to know what proper distance, timing, zanshin, application, all these things we know that have to happen to make a point. The referee has to see that happen just in that much time. You've seen sparring matches on the other tapes. You know how fast the people move. And the referee has to be able to recognize whether these things are scoring techniques with proper distance and timing, whether they're on the proper target, and whether they have the right form and application to go with them. The referee's body position is very important. You don't want to be too close to the competitors. For example, could I have Eric and Bob come up here, right here? Just stand on each side, please. Okay, and if you two gentlemen will get in left foot forward freestyle position. Jimmy, I don't want to be too close to them. Number one, I can't see from this position, but number two, I'm in jeopardy myself of being struck or kicked by the competitors. So I always like to be back far enough where I can see the whole picture. Secondly, don't be in a straight line with the competitors. Take a very slight angle to one side or another. You'll be able to have a better view of them as you do that. And try to focus your eyes straight across. Do not look at one competitor or the other. Because when you're doing that, you're losing the other competitor. So I try to look in between the competitors, slightly off at an angle. I can see both people now with my peripheral vision. If you two gentlemen could shift to your right about one step, please. Okay? Okay? So likewise, I shift in a position. Could you shift again a step to your right, please? Okay? And I shift. You notice I'm not directly in between. I'm a little bit set back here so I can see, and I'm not too close where I can get struck or kicked, yet I'm not so far back that I'm outside the ring. I would prefer, when you first start officiating, to actually step back a little bit farther. It'll give you more reaction time, and you can see their bodies more clearly. But you're going to have to experiment a little bit with that. Okay, let's go back to our starting line. Okay, so this time, what I'd like to have you gentlemen do is actually pretend like you're doing some sparring with each other. Okay, we're not interested in calling points. I really want to do is I want you to watch my body shift around as the referee. Okay? Okay, so we're starting a match. Hey, shobu samban. Spade! Okay, so notice my body. I'm trying to move so I'm not too close. Trying to keep in a distance. Slight angle so I can see. I can see the whole picture. Anything they do. And my judge is working with me. He's directly across from me, and wherever I shift, he shifts too. Okay, so his body's shifting. And yame back. You want to make it look as effortless as possible. As I mentioned earlier, you don't want the referee to run around in a circle. Okay, I'm staying pretty much in a small area. You know, I probably shifted anywhere from 5 to 6 feet from side to side, just trying to keep my body in the right position. Distance is far enough away where I don't have to be involved with the fight itself. These fighters should be trained well enough that they're going to respond to my verbal commands. I never should have to step in and physically grab them. If I do have to do something like that, there's going to be a disqualification in the match. Okay? They should respond to my verbal commands. So let's do it again. Okay? Shobu Samban, spade! Okay, so I move it around. Yame! And back. And you notice when I say yame, they stopped. Another key thing, which is an extension to them, is that even though I'm saying yame, the fighters should still keep that connected mind, that zanshin, follow each other. Because sometimes in a situation where you have thousands of people and they're cheering people on, they do not hear the command. So we want to make sure that the fighters themselves also are focused on each other, not just a referee when he gives the command, yame. And I have to be very loud and demonstrative. Yame! I want to make sure they can hear it, but I don't need to go in and push them apart or touch them. Okay, it's not like a boxing match. Okay, very good. Be together. Ready? Okay, and you gentlemen can step back. Okay. When you're observing a karate tournament, we want to make sure that you are trying to be able to keep score. I use this as a good example oftentimes when I'm teaching classes. If you went to a baseball game, you have the availability of having a scoreboard, but you always keep score. Okay? Some of you have a score sheet, and you know that the score is very important. If you have a football game or a basketball game or any type of sport activity, there's a score to be done. Same way in a karate tournament. And two things that's very important here. The strategy involved within the match changes how the score is. For example, there's 30 seconds left in the match, and one competitor has a half a point, and the other competitor has 2 full points. I think you could figure it out that if you're down with that half a point, all of a sudden you're going to have to become very offensively minded to try to bring up that score. While on the other hand, this person over here who has the 2 points is going to be more defensively minded to be able to be in control of that last 30 seconds to win the match. Now, the reason I'm pointing this out to you is because although I'm talking a little bit more about the officiating aspect of keeping score, all of you who are as competitors who are watching this tape, all of you who are parents and friends who are watching this tape, should be able to keep score to understand how the strategy of the ring is going to continue. I can't imagine anybody going in and fighting, and when the referee says 30 seconds remaining, not to know what the score is. So you should all be practicing. Ippons are full points. Wazaris are half points. Those are the main things you want to keep track of. So let's take a look at the score for a second. Okay? We don't need to be math majors to figure this out, but we need to know that every time an ippon is delivered, it's 1 full point, and every time a half point is delivered, it is a half of a point. Okay? So let's see how good you are in math. Okay, aka, jodanzuki, ippon. Shuro, chudanzuki, wazari. Aka, chudanzuki, wazari. Shuro, jogai. Shuro, jogai keikoku. Aka, wazari. Time. What's the score? Anybody keep score for me? Okay. Okay. Aka scored 2 points by combinations of full points and half points. Shuro, 1 point. So if the match was over, Aka would be the winner. It's kind of fun. You need to do this on your own. You know, you can get a couple people together, one person get the score, the other person keeps score, and then try not to do it with the score pad. Try to do it in your head. As a competitor, I want you to be able to keep score. If you're a coach, train your athletes to keep score. Senseis, practice in the dojo, keeping score. If the person is going to be fighting at a competitive level, particularly at a regional or national or international level, this is part of their training because they should be able to motivate themselves to become more offensive if need be, or be able to regulate in their course of a match, become more defensive. Okay, I'd like to take some time now to review the hand techniques. Starting the tournament, the referee, heels together, hands to your side, calls the shobu sanban, hachime, and steps back out of the way to allow the fighters to have space. Anytime the referee wants to stop the match, he does a downward chopping motion, yame, and stops the match. To continue the match, the referee steps back, his hands pointing towards the faces of his opponents. As he steps back, he gives the command, Zuzukite, Hachime, and draws the hands together as to bring them in to fight, and sides back to allow them to fight. Again, to stop the match, Yame. In awarding scores, you call the color, Aka, or Shiro, the area of attack, and the name of the technique, and whether it is a half point, wazari, or a full point, ippon. For example, Aka, jodanzuki, ippon. Another example, Shiro, chudanzuki, wazari. To continue the match, Suzukite, Chime. To stop the match, Yame. A very common hand signal, no confirmation of point. Torimasen. Torimasen. Remember the hand signals that help the contestants and the coaches would be distance is off target, contact, warning or foul for contact, out of bounds, which is jogai, cannot see. The referee can also use this signal, not just the judge, cannot see. These are the more common hand signals. I'd like to recommend to all of you a handbook that you can get through the Amateur Athletic Union. You can order the rules of Kumite, and it has diagrams demonstrating a lot of these hand signals. So if you need some extra reference or some extra practice points, this is a good place also to use besides the video. The video, practice with me, the book as a reference point. Okay, now I'd like to conclude everything by doing this. We're going to have a karate match. And during the course of the karate match, I'm going to call points, fouls, out of bounds, etc. And if you can, follow with me, but also with the help of our slow-mo, you'll be able to see these again as we replay them. Okay, let me have my black belts up here, please. Okay, the fighters have come to their line. The referee is ready to start the match. I want you to keep in mind now that there is a judge on the opposite side from me. You. You are the judge. Keep your eyes pinned between me and the fighters and see if you can identify the scores. Shobu Sanban. Spade! Back. Shiro Jogai. Sutsukete. Spade! Back. Aka. Chudan Geri. Wazari. Tsukite. Spade. Back. Aka, Jogai Keikoku. Shiro, Wazari. Stay, spade. Back. Torimasen. Spade. Give me back. Right. Torimasen. Spade. Spade. Give me back. Okay, now see, you had the best view on that roundhouse kick. So you signaled to me that it was on target. Shiro, Jodan Mawashigeri, Ippon. So stay, spade. 30 seconds remaining in the match. 30 seconds. Back. Shiro, Chudan Zuki, Wazari. Stay, spade. Back. A little bit too short, distance off. Right? Torimasen. Stay, spade. And time. The referee knows this side has scored more points. Shiro, no kachi. Right? And back. Good job. Again, I want to emphasize to you is familiarize yourself with the rules of a kumite match. Know that when a karate person is fighting, you're looking for good form, correct attitude, vigorous application, zanshin, proper distance and timing. Know the striking areas, the head, the face, the neck, the torso, stomach, and the back. Know what techniques are appropriate and not inappropriate, so as a referee you can warn people or give them fouls if they kick in the groin or attack the joints. Okay? And know the 5 ways that you can score by meeting your opponent at the precise time that they attack you, by blocking and counterattacking an unguarded area, by using a sweep or throwing technique followed by a scoring technique immediately, by using a combination where each movement scores in its own right, or by scoring to an unguarded part of your opponent's body. The other thing is practice over and over again. The bright body position so that you can see the points. I think a lot of times what happens is we react to timing, but you must see the attack on the face, the attack on the body, the miss if it's off it. And be in control when you're in a ring. Very deliberate, unemotional on your moves. Right? Ippon, Sari, Ponimasen, Hayuchi. Let the people see the signals. Let the competitors feel confident that you know what you're doing, and you'll be a good official too. Thank you very much. I first got started in martial arts in 1965 when I was a junior in college at Chapman College right here in Orange County. It's kind of an interesting story. My roommate in college at the time was actually attracted to it. I was on the track team. I was a discus thrower, and I was much bigger at the time. I weighed about 220 pounds. I did a lot of weight training. But I wanted to be able to continue to train after I got out of college. Well, there's not much in this world for an ex-discus thrower, so I needed to find a sport that I was interested in. And he had told me about this karate dojo that was over in Santa Ana, where I had a very famous instructor who had just come from Japan, who happened to be Fumio Demura. And so we went to visit this particular karate school, and Mr. Dan Ivan was there. He introduced himself to me. Mr. Demura was there, who had just arrived from Japan. And I watched the class, and as soon as the class was over, I knew this is what I wanted to do. It was the discipline, the exercise, and everything I was looking for. Well, my instructors were twofold. My original instructor was Dan Ivan, and Dan Ivan, I think most people know, is one of the real pioneers of the martial arts. He was one of the first gentlemen to come from Japan post-World War II with black belts in karate, judo, aikido, and kendo. And he primarily was a Shotokan stylist, and I trained with him. At the same time that I trained with him, Mr. Demura had just arrived from Japan, and he was a Shito Ryu stylist. However, he adapted and learned the Shotokan style. And through all those years, I trained under both Mr. Demura and Mr. Ivan. I was in Mission Viejo, living in Mission Viejo, and the dojo that I trained at, being in Santa Ana, was a little bit far, so I thought by opening a dojo, it would give me more opportunity to train. Plus, at the time, I was a teacher. I taught in the public school system, and I felt that I had the expertise and the personality to teach the martial arts. So I started with the YMCA, working in a trailer in Mission Viejo in 1973. You know, there are so many things that's wonderful about teaching the martial arts. I think the main thing is that I have a captive audience. I have a group of people who want to be there. And I have a great comparison to that because I used to teach in the public schools. And you know, you always have students in the public schools who don't want to be in school. No matter how good of a teacher you think you may be, the student may not want to be in that particular situation. So the martial arts, I do have that captive audience. I have people who give me respect. I give them mutual respect. and it's really an ideal teaching situation. You know, there are a lot of ingredients, but if I were to pin it down to one thing, it's perseverance. I think a lot of people come into a martial arts school and they don't realize how difficult it is to become proficient in what we do. If I can get somebody to come in and really work to the grindstone, come in committed to train on a regular basis, 3 or 4 hours per week, they're going to see some results. They're going to feel good about themselves. They're physically and mentally going to get stronger, and they're the students who are going to stay with me for a long period of time. What makes a good instructor is a person, number one, who has a lot of patience with his students. Somebody who doesn't try to make his students be as good as he is. I think a lot of times you get an instructor who is an athlete and expects all of his students to be athletes. We are teaching the martial arts, and I think it's important for us to be able to convey to each person, whether a child or adult, male or female, young or old, good basics and a good feeling for the techniques that we have, and they will stay with us for a long time. I've been with the Amateur Athletic Union for many years. One of the things that has drawn me to the Amateur Athletic Union karate program is the fact that it has consistent rules, officiating, and consistency that we look for as far as our athletes participating in karate tournaments. Too often they go to a situation and the referees and judges are either biased towards their students and or they're not knowledgeable on how to officiate. The AAU has specific rules and regulations in which instructors must go by, coaches must go by, and athletes must go by. Therefore, we have an ongoing program which I have seen on a year-to-year basis getting stronger and stronger. I would like to see karate become an Olympic sport. I think it's a difficult challenge ahead of us for it to become an Olympic sport. And let me just kind of expand on that fact just a little bit. We have many great karateka here in the United States, particularly those who practice the Japanese Okinawan style. And those would be the ones who would primarily try to get karate into the Olympics. However, because there are so many different styles and forms of karate, there's always going to be that little infighting. And that's what we're trying to iron out right now. Not that one form of karate is better than the other, but we're all striving for the same goal of karate do. The AAU tournament, kata, kobudo, and kumite judging have to go through specific training courses to be able to get their licenses. For example, I'm a regional director, and when I put on a regional tournament, everybody who officiates there has to go through a referee's course with me. And I know that they're competent to either be a judge or a referee, which is the highest level, an arbitrator, or even a scorekeeper or timekeeper, have to have some knowledge of the rules. As you move to the national levels, they must go through the national course and also pass a national test and a license there so that they can participate in the national level. Get you again, we're talking about human beings who are expressing themselves when they get in the ring. I kind of compare a referee or a judge to an umpire in a baseball game. Not only do they not always make the best calls, but hopefully they're doing the best they can to be fair to the athlete involved. We're very excited. When I say we, I'm talking about the people of the Japan Karate Do Federation who are involved with producing these videos for Panther Productions. I think one of the things that we've needed out on the market today is a step-by-step how to do Kumite or freestyle sparring in your traditional Japanese Okinawan type of tournament. What we've done here is we've dealt with footwork, we've dealt with developing footwork into offensive combinations, we've dealt with footwork into doing blocking countering techniques, taking it a step further into sweeping techniques and takedowns, and finally putting all those together and how to use that in a tournament type of situation. I think that we're in dire need of it, and I think that the people who observe these tapes will feel that they're a very valuable tool in expanding their karate, both in a tournament situation, also in a training situation at the dojo. Shotokan karate system is probably the oldest, when I say oldest, the forerunner of most of your tournament competitions. We can go back to the 1950s when in Japan they had the first Shotokan karate tournaments, and some of your very great instructors today were winners of that particular tournament. They, from that time on, the Japan Karate Association expanded throughout the world, and Shotokan has become the most prevalent form of Japanese martial art in the world today. For example, in Great Britain alone, they have over 100,000 active Shotokan practitioners. Throughout the United States, it's hard to pinpoint just how many there are, but it is the most popular form of Japanese Karate-Do. To be a champion kata competitor, number one, you have to have a good foundation of basics. I think most karate instructors stress that more than anything else. If you develop good basics, not only are you going to develop a good potential kata champion, but also you're going to develop a good potential kumite champion. Through your basics, you're developing your proper stances, which enhances your strength of your legs, your proper body actions so that technically and mechanically your body moves so that you don't have to think about doing these. Through kata practice, you're learning how to fight. And through fighting, your kata will improve. So they kind of go hand in hand. Kata also is a great activity because you don't need a partner for it. You can train in your backyard, in the dojo, in a park, any place. Kata goes with you. To become a champion fighter, again, we must rely on good basics. But there's one thing to be a champion fighter that can't be taught. A very unique component to the championship aspect of any type of kumite is the killer instinct. And when I say that, I don't mean a viciousness. I don't mean somebody who's cruel and mean and takes advantage of other people, but somebody who can rise to the occasion, somebody who has a little bit more mental and physical toughness than his opponent. After all, when we get into a tournament situation, it's probably the closest thing that you're going to ever be relating to a comparison as a real fight. I see the future of the martial arts as being very bright. I feel that there's going to be a great expansion of the martial arts over the next decade. My hope is, however, though, that the traditional martial arts are the ones who become the ones in the forefront. I don't deny that other martial arts schools are going to be successful, and I wish them well. But I think the traditional systems are the ones who are going to carry on over a period of many years. While the other ones will have a tendency to fall by the wayside, traditional karate, aikido, judo, whatever the name of the martial art may be, it'll have longevity because of its foundation of history, culture, and strong basic techniques. I'm always reasserting reestablishing my goals and aspirations as a martial arts instructor. I think it's important not only for myself, but for everybody to do that. Try to do it on a daily basis if you possibly can. I have a very special way of looking at life. I look at every day as I wake up as a challenge, my own personal challenge, but not in a negative way. I look at what things I can accomplish for myself. I tell my students that the most important thing that we can utilize in our life is time. Time wasted, we cannot regain. So we want to use our time to enhance our lives. I try to enhance my life through further my training. I plan to go to Japan to do that, to do some research for some books. These videos are on the right track for one of the things that are on my list of goals for personal improvement. And also, I'm always looking for ways to become a better teacher, to motivate my students, and find methods to make Karate-Do a far superior activity. I do have words for advice for people to succeed in the martial arts. And again, I want to go back to a couple of words that I mentioned earlier. Number one, if you're going to do the martial arts, you must be committed, and you must have perseverance. And I also recommend find a style that suits you. Today, we find people who want to be a jack of all trades and are not good at anything. Find one martial art that really you enjoy and go all out at it. For example, I've been doing Shotokan Karate since 1965, so I'm going on 30 years now of training and almost 22 years of teaching, and I feel like I'm still learning. So if you have that type of attitude, it's better to be really super good at one thing than to be just average or poor at many things. Now I'd like to sum things up by saying that I hope that everybody has the opportunity to try the martial arts. Go around and visit a few schools. Make sure that the schools will allow you the opportunity to practice in a class to make sure before you sign up. And make sure that this is a place that you feel comfortable with the instructor and that his knowledge and expertise has some history or background. Sometimes when somebody just moves into your backyard, they say that they have this credential and that credential. But let them in the class. Let them have you participate in the class to make sure that you feel confident in his or her teaching ability.